is Dick, WB2JPQ, and welcome to the East Coast Reflector Tech Net tonight. Number 673, number 673. I was just talking in the Zoom, and we're coming up, I think, in 3 weeks on 13 years. So I'd like to do something special, so maybe we'll try to organize something special in 3 weeks and bring some of the controllers back that have helped us over the 13 years, and try to remember to do something special. I'm here tonight with Vicky, K8VKY, and Roger, K04QMM, and Scott, N7FGP from Jamestown. He's going to join us this evening and do a little portion of the net as well. So between the four of us, we'll take you through the next couple of hours. So we have a little fun. We're trying to think of an upbeat question tonight for those of you that are following along on the log. You've already read it. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the air? In other words, maybe on a telephone or in Zoom or something. Have you ever given a call sign and realized, hey, dummy, I'm not really on the radio. I don't need to sign off. I know Roger, during the pre-warm-up here in the green room, he a lot of times he'll say 7-3 to somebody. It might not be a ham or 7-3 cell phone. I don't think I ever have signed my call sign. I might have, but I just don't think I ever have. But that's our question tonight. Something to have a little bit of fun with. Accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio. In other words, if you're giving your call sign when it wasn't needed. We've got a couple of quick announcements. Tomorrow is open mic night on the East Coast Reflector at 8 o'clock, just 24 hours from now. The mic team has got a couple of net controllers that they'll probably bring in here for the first time and run the open mic for an hour. So come join them. Thursday night, come join many of us from the ECR team in our town hall meeting. This is town hall Thursday night, so 8 o'clock. Come join us. East Coast Reflectors Town Hall meeting at 8 o'clock in the Zoom room. Friday night, of course, is our youth net. 8 o'clock, our youth net. So please come support our youth net. Saturday night, 11 o'clock, is the trivia net. And Alex at 11 o'clock. A great net. That's all I have in announcements. I just got, we had 69 new users came across our doorsteps last week. I get a couple minutes to 8 o'clock. I get a text from the database. We had 69 new call signs this week. We're right in that 60 every week. 42 of them had email addresses on QRZ. So we always try to strive to remind everyone, especially the newly licensed people, to make sure your email address is current on QRZ.com. The only way we can get a hold of you. I'm done licking stamps, and I'm not going to use snail mail, and if you don't have an email address, we can't get a hold of you, especially the node owners. You know, if you've got a problem with your node and we have to take you off, the only way we can get a hold of you is block your node, and when you find out you can't get out, then we usually find out your email address real quick. I'm going to send it over to Vicky for a minute, K8VKY, and she's going to tell you a little bit about Volume 28, our ECR Reflector magazine that hit the stands about an hour ago. Good evening, Vicky. Repeater, timeout, cancel.
Good evening, this is Vicky, K8VKY. Yep, the magazine came out earlier today. And, of course, as always, it's free for anybody. No paywalls anywhere. You can go to ecr.radio/magazine. Or you can actually go to YouTube at YouTube/East Coast Reflector. If you want to subscribe, ecr.radio/subscribe. And this month, Dick goes over how the QSO Quest is doing and the details of the Western New York meet and greet. and you need to get your reservations in soon, by the way. Bob, W3ICQ's beginner-friendly guide to hotspots. Randy, W2RBC goes over how to build a better hamstick hub. Sorry, I just knocked over the lamp. Harry, SM0VPO simplest power supply. KD2TFB, celebrity call sign does. WA4CVDs, guitarist Chet Atkins. We got basics, static, got world radio history, radio questions answered from 1924. There's also system information, comics, puzzles, general exam practice, and user-submitted photos. And again, that's ECR.radio/K8VKY.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you for all your hard work that you put into that magazine. I know the countless hours that you put in on the magazine and countless hours that you put in for ECR. It's certainly appreciated by several thousand that are reading the magazine. And if anybody does have a problem with you think you should be getting the magazine and you're not, and just contact one of us, and we can fix it for you. But you can subscribe yourself. ECR.radio/subscribe. ECR.radio/subscribe. Or like Vicki just mentioned, ECR.radio/magazine. All right, and I forgot to mention the Western New York meet and greet. I'm glad she did. A little blurb in Dick's corner of the magazine about the Western New York meet and greet on June 20th. Please get your RSVPs in. Come join us, Chestnut Ridge Park, south of Buffalo, for our 4th annual Western New York meet and greet. Just a great time to get together and meet some people. We got people coming from Texas and Florida, so it should be a great time. I don't have the list of things we have going in front of us, but we got VE testing. Steve K2EJ is in charge of VE testing. We're going to have HF stations. We'll be using the call sign of W2ECR with certificates for stations that work the HF in stations on the Reflector. What else we got? We got mesh network display. We got a weather balloon display, plus a lot of other things going on. So if you're free and in the area, come join us on June 20th. All that information is available somewhere. I say somewhere because we have so many places to post things that it's so easy to forget things. People remind us all the time to post it here, post it there. We just have so much going on the ECR. Anyway, enough out of me. I'm going to send it up to Kevin, Victoria Harbour, Ontario, Canada, VE3BZ, and see what he has for us tonight in his swap and shop. Good evening, Kevin.
Well, good evening, Dick, Vicky, Roger, everyone else on the net. This is Kevin, VEZ, with tonight's swap and shop portion of the net. I have 3 listings tonight. Starting off with Ken. I don't have Ken's call sign, but that's okay, in Sardinia, New York. Ken has 2 Bofang HGs for sale. They are the model UV5RM, and he's asking $20 each. If interested, you can contact him by telephone at 716-496-5639. And listing number 2 is from Zach, KI6KQO in St. Cloud, Florida. Zach is selling an ICOM ID52A Plus. Handheld, in excellent condition. Battery, the rubber duck antenna, belt clip, USB cable, and manual, all in original box. Extras include the ICOM drop-in charger, the BC-2021 IP3L, wallwart, power cord, additional BP272 battery, and a BP307 large capacity battery. Photos are available upon request, and free shipping is $448, and he's asking $675. And Zach is good on QRZ. You can contact him by email. Again, his call is KI6KQO. And let me drop for a sec.
Timeout. Cancel.
Okay, and our final listing for this evening is from Charles, KEC6UFM in Guatai, California. Charles has a Raspberry Pi 5 for sale. It's the 8 gig model. The board only, doesn't include anything else. Brand new in box, never opened, and is selling as is. Asking $185, shipped to the lower 48, and Charles only accepts PayPal. And again, contact Charles by email at kc6ufm@gmail.com, and he's also good on QRZ. And that's all I have for tonight. If you have anything that you would like to sell, or you're looking for something, or just want to trade, just send me an email with the details at ve3bz@rogers.com, or go to eastcoastreflector.com, click on contact ECR and SwapNet submissions. And as for the question of the night, no, I have not, that I remember anyway. Thank you. Back to you, Dick, V3BZ.
Or at least that you'll admit to, right? Maybe we'll have a little fun with that question tonight. Maybe I think Scott was the originator of that in 7FGP, so should be a fun question tonight. Charles in Guatemala, California is with us tonight, and last I knew he was going to talk about HT antennas briefly tonight. Good evening, Charles.
Good evening, Dick, and everyone on the Tech Net tonight. Thank you, Dick, and Vicki, and Roger, and Scott joining you tonight there for herding the cats this evening. But, yeah, as far as the question is concerned, I really wish you hadn't asked this one, but since you did, I got to tell on myself. I can remember 3 times that I have done that. Once on cell phone, once on a landline phone, and then the worst one was in a Zoom meeting with some folks up at the House of Mouse Productions up in Anaheim, and I signed off of the Zoom meeting, and that got me a whole bunch of funny-looking stares, and I got yelled at by my publicist / agent, whatever other title Shauna has. But yeah, it was embarrassing at the very least. But yeah, tonight gonna mention just a few things about HTs and the antennas therefore. And I'm sure that everyone on the Reflector has heard, at least 1 or 2 conversations where somebody's talking about being, 25, 30 miles away from the repeater, and they're getting in very good to the repeater, sounding through the repeater, and talking about, the great new whiz-bang antenna that they bought for their handheld, and just kind of keep in mind, everyone, that what antenna put on a handheld has very little impact on that type of situation. The flowers for good performance in that situation belong to the repeater. The repeater may be 1,000 feet or more higher than you are, so it can see a lot better. It probably has some sort of a gain antenna, and it's probably putting out quite a few watts more than 10-watt HT is. And the next step on that process is the receiver that the repeater has is almost certainly better than your handheld. So, yes, it is possible to do that, but it's not the HT or the HT's antenna that is making that happen. It's the repeater. There's not a tremendous amount of difference between them in the real world. And, a rubber duck is really nothing more than a linear dummy mode. And, they typically have actually negative gain figures. So, that's not a good option. Some of the longer whip-style antennas will help out. Things that the most common name for them is a tiger tail. There are other names out there that you might hear, but that's basically just a piece of wire that connects to the chassis of the HT, hangs down. Forms the other half, if you will, of that quarter wave antenna that is screwed to the top of the HT. Those will help in many situations also. But the biggest thing with HTs that I see people doing is they hold the HT up to their head with the antenna at an angle. 45 degrees seems to be a good common selection. But you want to keep that antenna as straight up and down as you can, because think about the repeater that you're getting into. The owner of that repeater went to great lengths to make sure that antenna is perfectly vertical. Any deviation from that between the transmitting and receiving antennas will result in some additional loss. So try to keep your HT positioned where the antenna is straight up. That will help you get into the repeater much, much better. But, the big thing is, there are no magic antennas for HTs. Back in the day, I'm sure a number of you have heard Dick and myself and some of the other older hams around here. God, maybe I shouldn't have drug you into that, Dick, but, you've heard us talk about, back in the day, you typically would buy a mobile radio first because they were cheapest. Then you would buy a base station because they were a little bit more than the mobile. Then you would buy a handheld because they were priced like a block of platinum. Whereas today, it's kind of spun around a little bit. So a lot of people are getting an HT as their first radio, which that's fine as long as you understand the limitations. So that's all for tonight, Dick. Let me pass it back over to you. And I'll be around here for the Q&A. This is KC6, a UFM, back to net control.
Well, thank you, Charles. This is Scott in 7SGP in Jamestown, New York, and we're going to start taking some check-ins. We're going to start with users that are new to the Tech Net. So if you have never checked into the East Coast Reflector Tech Net, we would like to hear from you first. Tonight's question is, have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on a radio? Now, I must admit, I have done this off phone calls, and yes, it does get embarrassing. So anyhow, we want to hear your stories if you have it, and if not, well, that's okay too. So if you have checked into the East Coast Reflector Tech Net, now's your chance to check in. Just use your call sign twice and slowly. Please call now.
Control, please check in Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Foxtrot Echo. That's Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Foxtrot Echo. Net Control, please check in November 0, Sierra, November Oscar. That's November 0, Sierra, November Oscar. This is Whiskey 3, Whiskey India November.
That's Whiskey 3, Whiskey, India, November. We win.
Alrighty, it looks like we picked up a few there, but we have a no-no. N0SNO, looks like you've checked in once before, so we're going to move you down on the list there. We only want people who have never checked in before. So let me tell you who we do have. We have Don in Blackwood, New Jersey, W3WIN, nice call sign, we win. Clifford in Clearwater, Florida, KQ4GFE. And we have Todd via the text line from Winfield, Kansas, K0STX. Well, let's start it off with Todd there. Todd, have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio? Over to you, Todd. Wait, let's see. Let's try Todd one more time. K0STX. Right. Well, Todd checked in via the text line, and he might have just been in and out. Let's move on to Clifford in Clearwater, Florida, KQ4GFE. Good evening, Clifford.
Thank you, KQ4 over here in Clearwater. Have I ever? No, but I've I've said 73s to a friend on the telephone before I hung up one time. I do remember that.
Clifford, that seems to be something that several of us have done before. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's try Dawn in Blackwood, New Jersey, W3WIN. Good evening, Dawn. How are you tonight? And have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Hey there. Good evening, sir. Yeah, this is W3WIN. And just to clarify, I know it says I'm in New Jersey, but I'm actually in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I know it's complicated. But, hey, that's where I be. Have I ever signed off somewhere not on the radio? Yes. I can count at least 3 times that I've done it and realized it. And it's usually at the end of a Teams call or a Zoom call when it's just audio only. I'm not looking at somebody and somebody says something that says, hey, well, okay, we'll talk to you later. And I'm like, you betcha, W3WIN. And they're like, what? Never mind, and you move on. So, yes, I've done that a few times. It kind of becomes one of those instilled habits, like saying yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Same thing comes after a while with a call sign. So, yep, indeed, I certainly have done that. Whiskey 3, Whiskey in November. Back to you.
All right, Don. Yeah, I've done the same thing, and I think a lot of people have out there, but we'll see. All right, let's take some more check-ins. If you've never checked into the Tech Net, now's your chance. Just need your call sign twice and slowly. Please call now. All right, looks like we're going to start taking some stations that have any questions. If you have a question and you would like to see if we can find an answer for you, go ahead and give us your call sign twice and slowly. Please call now. All right, if you'd like to check into tonight's TechNet, go ahead and give us your call sign twice and slowly. And if you do have a question, please let us know. Just need your call sign twice, slowly. Call now.
K2AP, Victor Echo 3, India, Quebec Uniform, V3IQU, Reg in Brampton.
We picked up a couple stations there, VE2IQU and K2AP. Joe, do you have any, actually, let's go to Alan there in Victoriaville, Canada, VE2IQU. Looks like this is your first time checking into the net. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't even on the radio? I'm going to send it over to you, Alan. Send it over.
No, I can't remember that thing. And just as a correction for you, my call sign is Victor Echo 3, India, Quebec Uniform. Victor Echo 3, India, Quebec Uniform. My name is Reg, Radio Echo, and I'm located in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. And hope you and all those out in the net tonight are having enjoying the springtime, and I hope that everyone's having a good time out there. Anyway, not much going on here. The wife and I are fine, and I'm just checking in and seeing how everybody's doing tonight. So we'll toss it back to you from Victor Echo 3 India, Quebec Uniform.
All right, I have it now. Victor Echo 3, IQU, Reg. All right, sorry about that mix-up there, but we've got you in the log now straight. Joe, K2AP, you have a question for us tonight. Over to you, Joe.
Good evening to the net. This is K2AP. Not really anything I can think of, but I also never signed off when I wasn't on the radio, so maybe someday I will, but so far I've never done that. So, this is K2AP, back to the...
All right, Joe, thank you for checking in tonight. All right, we're looking for stations with questions, technical questions, if you have an question or maybe a repeater question, any node questions, any questions out there at all with ham radio involved. Just need your call sign twice and slowly. Please call now.
KK5, CUZ, Kilo Juliet 5, Delta Uniform Zulu.
C2, KHT, Kilo, Charlie 2, Kilo, Hotel, Tango.
All right, we have two stations with questions.
KENL, Alpha Bravo 2, November Lima.
Right, we have three stations here with tech questions. First of all, we have John in Ovid, New York, AB2NL. We have Henry in East Islip, AC2KHT, and we have Kenneth, KJ5DUZ. It looks like this is your first check into the TechNet, Kenneth. Let's see, what is your question for tonight? Over to you.
Yeah, my question is, if there's anybody out there who has an Alinco radio, I'm trying to figure out how to set up the subband
so it has different frequencies on each scan channel. When I change the subband frequency, it stays on the same one for all the ones I got scanned.
Well, Kenneth, Lenco Radio, do you have a model number?
Yes, sir. It's a DR635.
Right. Well, I'm not familiar with that model at all, but maybe somebody out there is. Somebody who has experience with the Alinco DR635 that can help Kenneth out there. Please give us your call sign twice and slowly.
Four Gold 8 Whiskey Victoria Victoria. 4 Gold 8 Whiskey Victoria Victoria. In and out. Mobile 73 everyone.
All right. Well, we're looking for somebody who has any experience with a Alinco DR635 radio. Anybody out there have an answer for Kenneth there? I'm not sure. I can look into it, but I don't know the Alinco radio. It doesn't look like we have anybody out there that's quite familiar with it. But can you explain the problem you're having one more time? It's a problem programming the subband. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And the name is John, John. Yeah, when I scan through channels, if I set the subband to a frequency, it stays on that frequency for all the scanned channels. It won't, like, give me a separate one for each channel. So I don't even know if it's possible, but I just thought maybe somebody might know. Thank you.
John, yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar at all with that radio. But would you like to, is this your first time checking into the Tech Net? It looks like you are this is your first time checking in. Is that correct? And have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on a radio? Over to you.
Yes, this is the first time checking, and no, I have never done that. I'm sure I will someday, though. I'm getting older. Back to you.
Yes, well, sometimes it just becomes it's like second nature to me sometimes. All right, thank you for checking in, and maybe somebody will have an answer for you here as we progress through the night. Move on down to Henry in East Islip, New York, KC2KHT. Good evening, Henry, and what's your question for tonight?
This is KC2KHT, and my question is, I just received from an older ham who got out of the ham, but he gave me his 2-meter 440 antenna, and it feels that fiberglass like it's like brittly, and I'm just wondering, before I put it back up, should I coat it with something like varnish, or is it not necessary?
UFM.
Send that over to Charles. Charles, do you have an answer there for Henry? Go ahead.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, Henry, in my experience, and this, honestly, it may not be correct. Chemistry was never my strong suit, but when I've had fiber like that, what I mostly worry about is I'm handling it, getting a 3-inch fiberglass splinter in my hand or something like that. So what what I always tend to do is take some very, very, very fine wet or dry sandpaper, typically like 2000 grit. Wet it down real good, kind of run that over to knock the high and sharp spots off a little bit, and then I coat it with a good UV-resistant polyurethane, and it looks like new. It's nice and slick, so nothing sticks to it, and it makes it look better, and for me, at least in my mind, it makes it safer for me to handle. But I'm not sure that it absolutely needs that, and I'm really not sure if it actually extends the life any further or not. But my gut is telling me that it will extend the life, and that's kind of what I do. But that may not industry standard, if you understand what I mean, Henry. So back over to you, Scott. This is KC6 UFM, back to net control. K4FXC comment.
Yeah, November 1, Hotel Charlie, N1HC. After spending 40-odd years in the two-way radio business, I can tell you that is the smartest thing. Which was pretty much right on, but I would sand it with, you don't need 2,000 grit. You want something if you're going to do a job. I would say about 400 grit would be perfectly fine. I would put a face mask, one of these, they made us wear, during the COVID thing, just to keep the fibers, you don't breathe those fiberglass fibers. And maybe you put some rubber gloves on so you don't get fiberglass fibers in your hand. Sand it lightly, and give it a couple of coats of polyurethane, maybe sand it lightly between the coats, and it should be good to go for as long as you're probably going to want to use it. N1HC.
We're GFA.
All right, stand by. Thank you, Horace, N1HC, for that answer. Let's go to David, K4FXC. David, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. You might know my phone starts ringing just about time I literally key down. I'll call them back here in a minute. So, yes, I agree 100% that sanding down the radome just gently and spraying it is a great plan to extend the life of the radome on the antenna. And this goes for any of the varieties out there. A lot of the ham radomes are the thinner ones, and they can fail the fastest. Something that I've done on antennas that I put on towers, like X50s, X200s, primarily X50s and whatnot, has been to use Super 88 tape. So standard 3 Scotch brand Super 88 tape, and wrapped it from the bottom of the radome all the way to the top, cap at the top, and then back down. So I'll start about maybe 2 or 3 inches up from the bottom. I'll wrap down all the way to the bottom of this fiberglass radome and wrap up gently and carefully, overlapping each one of my turns all the way to the top, and then back down about 2 or 3 inches. Do not stretch the tape. Get it on there nice and firmly. There are no gaps in it, but do not stretch it. And at the top, when you get ready to cut it off with scissors or a knife. Do not stretch it. I've got antennas that have been up in tall places for, I guess, 13 years now that still have the tape on there. It looks a little weathered at this point, but it's protected the radome 100% from UV and weather, and it's worked perfectly. The antennas have not failed. One of them's at 900 feet with ABRS right this minute. So that's also a recommended way to extend the life and refurbish them after they're damaged. And I've used this successfully now for probably 30 years. K4FXC.
All right, David, thank you for that answer. I think there was one other comment out there. Station, can you come with your call sign and go ahead with your comment then?
Or GFE Cliff, I just had a question. Are we talking about a fiberglass antenna?
442 meter antennas with the fiberglass radomes on it. Did you have an answer for that?
I had a friend that used to work for Shakespeare, and they said they used to dunk them, believe it or not, in the same thing, the same gel coat that they use on fiberglass boats. And that was the last coat that they put on them. So I wasn't sure if maybe I'd just throw that out there.
All right, thank you for that answer there. And let's see, Henry, did that answer your question and that help you at all? I'm going to send it back to KC2KHT.
Yeah, it was a lot of good information, and I think I will try it. The only problem with dumping in a vat of fiberglass is I'm doing only one antenna, so I don't have a big vat, so it sounds like a really good idea, but probably very ineffective.
Hey, that's probably true. It's probably buy out for the price of a vat of gel coat. All right, thank you for checking in, Henry, and let's move on down to John in Novid, New York, AB2NL. It looks like this is John's first check-in to the East Coast Reflector Tech Net. John, what is your question for tonight? Over to you.
Oh, you already got me. I asked the question about the Linko. Thank you. AB2NL, I'm clear.
Right, John, sorry about that. I missed that on the log there. So it looks like we're out of questions. If you have a question for tonight's TechNet, I just need your call sign twice and slowly. Questions for the TechNet, please call now.
N0SNO. N0SNO. And stand corrected, I've never checked into the TechNet. I've only checked into Open Mic Night.
Right, well, I'm sorry. It just has you down here as being checked into the TechNet once before. So, well, we got you now, though. So, N0SNO, Matthew in Phoenix, Arizona. What's your question for tonight, Matthew? Over to you.
So mine's more of a ham radio 3D printer.
Okay, Matthew, with your question.
Sorry about that. My phone got on Wi-Fi as soon as I got home. 3D printing question for Yaesu products. Has anybody found replacement knob options for the 500 series, like a 3D printed STL file or something of that nature? Back to net.
Well, Matthew, personally, I have not looked for any of those knobs. I know there are quite a few replacement knobs out there. I think if you just do a search on one of the websites there, you should be able to find something that will work. But let's put it out there and see if anybody has printed any replacement knobs for Yaesu radios. If you have, just come back with your call sign twice and slowly. Go ahead.
GFE?
All right, station, we just got 4GFE. Can you give us your sign again twice and slowly? Go ahead.
AQ4 GFE, and yeah, just an answer for the knobs, just a suggestion.
KQ4GFE. Clifford, go ahead with the answer for the knobs. Over to you.
What you might do, just I'm on Maker World right now. I was looking up stuff for other things that I want to print, and I was looking, and there's quite a bit of, I don't know what radio knobs he's looking for, but there are a whole bunch of knobs available for free, all the STL files there. I get a lot of my stuff from there. I've got 7 printers sitting here. I run everything from ABS down to PLA, and I get a lot of stuff free off of that. And there are other places that you gotta buy it, but it's called MakerWorld.com. Give that a shot and see if he finds what he might be looking for. And if he's a printer, he'll know what I'm talking about. He can mod, to fit. But anyway, there you go. KQ4 GFE. Back to net control. Thank you.
All right, Clifford. Yeah, that would be my suggestion too. There's quite a few different knobs there for different radios on Maker World. I think there are other websites out there too. That seems to be the one that I use the most. So Matthew, does that help answer your questions there? And it looks like we look back at the logs, and it looked like you checked in. It's been over a year or so. Anyhow, over to you, Matthew. Did that help you at all?
Strange, I would recall. Haven't had my call sign for a year yet, so there's no way I would have checked in. But, yeah, it does. My email is good on QRZ. I'm looking for the 500 series. I managed to break one of the knobs off, and I was trying to look it up at work and wasn't really finding many, but I will look at Maker and see what's out there. All right, Net, thank you, and 73 and 0 SNO.
All right, Matthew, thank you, and glad to hear you. Glad that you're out there now, and we've got you officially on the log there. Okay, so we're looking for more questions. If you have a question for tonight's TechNet, just need your call sign twice and slowly. Please call now.
A2 CMT.
Kilo Bravo 2 Uniform Delta Bravo. Kilo Bravo 2 Uniform Delta Bravo.
Right, let's see. We have a couple of mics there. We have B2 UDB. Mike, good evening. We have team member Mike K2 CMT with a question. Mike K2 CMT, what's your question for this evening? Over to you.
Thank you, Scott. And let me answer your question first, and that is I have never signed off with my call sign on anything other than a handheld or a microphone that was attached to a ham radio. And my question for tonight is, I've been playing HF here last year, and I've gotten into POTA. I'm an avid hunter at the moment, but I'm looking to become an activator, and I'm looking for recommendations from most POTA users out there who have been activating as to what software, logging software they are using, and from a standpoint of something that I could not have to be connected to the internet, but I could be standalone in a park, and the QRZ database, could be used offline. And what software is out there that you find fairly quick and easy?
All right, Mike, let's put that out there to the net tonight. Looking for recommendations for software that is standalone and can be used offline with the QRZ database access. So if anybody has an answer for that, please give us your call sign twice and slowly. Call now.
Go ahead. Nope. N0SNO and W3WIN. We both went at the same time. probably with the same answer.
All right, well, let's go with W3WIN. Don, go ahead with your answer there.
Yes, sir. Probably going to be the exact same answers as Matt's, which is going to be HAMRS, also colloquially known as Hammers, HAMRS. That you can download, and you can use it on one machine all you want. It downloads a current version of the QRZ database, so you have everything available for offline. If you want across multiple computers to be able to sync your logs, you can pay them a fee, and you can run on multiple machines. You can also set it up to where automatically will sync your logs up to QRZ, and you can have it send things. It's a great little tool there for you. So, HAMRS, Whiskey 3, Whiskey November. Back to that.
Don, well, that sounds like a pretty good solution. Let's go over to Matthew and see what his solution is. N0SNO. Matthew, over to you.
Well, thank you. And being a pretty avid POTA activator, if you look at my QRZ page, you've got quite a few activations in there. And as Don said, Don learned from me to use HAMRS. It nowadays has an offline data mode. It likes to get stuck in the update process. So what you'll find is if you're out in the park activating and you fire it up on your Surface Pro, that's what I carry for activations, 2 of them. I have found that, hey, do you want to update the software? You have to click no. If you pay for it, you can run it across all platforms. Another program I use is a program called Smart Logger. Smart Logger will go in anytime you connect to the internet and download a database of all the active call signs that are on QRZ or on the FCC database, right? And then that one will work with no connection back to the world. But I found that when I'm out doing POTA, I prefer to take my Starlink with me. That's just what I do. And 0SNO, back to net control.
0SNO and N7FGP. Thank you for the answers there, Matt. And let's send it back to Mike, K2CMT. Mike, did that help you with your looking for a solution there? Over to you, Mike.
On the other end, which I think it is, I'll bow my head to the king of POTA as far as I'm concerned and take the recommendation. And I have the Hammers already downloaded, so I'll get into it a little bit deeper. But the Smart Logger, I'll take a look at it too, and I do appreciate the input. Everyone have a good evening. 73 across the board.
Thanks for the question, Mike, Matthew, and thanks for the answers. This is Dick, WB2JPQ. I'll take it for a few. Let's go to Mike, KB2UDB. Hi, Mike. What's your question for us tonight?
Hello, Dick and everyone on the net tonight. I'm going to first answer your question this evening, and I'm going to say no. I usually answer in 7-3 when I go to leave on the phone. Never my call sign. So the question tonight would be, what would be a suggestion for a new ham radio operator for antenna as far as the preference would go between aluminum and fiberglass antenna? What would be the preference and why? KB2 UDV, back to net control.
So we're talking UHF, VHF?
Yes, Dick, that'd be true. KB2 UDV.
Right. Mike's question tonight for everyone is What's the preference, fiberglass or aluminum for UHF, DHF antenna? I guess we just went over some the problems with some of the fiberglass antennas due to, depending upon where you live. I've had some up for years, and I've had others fallen apart in years, so it's kind of a catch-22 on the fiberglass. Would like to give an answer to Mike's query.
KC6UFM.
Here, Charles, go ahead.
Thank you, Dick. Yeah, Mike, personally, kind of depends on the bands for me, but if we're talking VHF, UHF, 2 meters, 440, I prefer the fiberglass. But with that said, there are some issues with the fiberglass that, we talked about before, and sometimes, depending upon your weather situation, they'll break down faster than they will in other places. But, if we're talking just a simple vertical, whether it be, quarter wave, half wave, some other form of gain vertical, I prefer the fiberglass. However, if you're talking something directional, a beam, if you will, aluminum tubing is the only way to fly there. It's going to be, much easier to keep up in the air, and you're not going to have as much problems with it. And another big factor to keep in mind, Mike, is glass antennas tend to be significantly more expensive than the metal antennas. Has to do with manufacturing costs. But with all of that said, though, Mike, the old Ringo Rangers, Cushcraft, they are hard to beat, and they are all aluminum. They're a very good antenna. You can still find them. Cushcraft is coming back, but the stocks are very, very low. But you can still find them sometimes, and they're priced right, and they do a good job. And I know that they do a 6 meter, a 10 meter, a 2 meter, 40. I'm not sure offhand, without digging through some stuff, if there is, or even if there ever was, a 220 version. But, for the other bands, absolutely. And they work well. So, a lot of it comes down to your weather. So, keep in mind, in very hot, dry climates, glass may deteriorate quickly. And as David mentioned earlier, the ham radio versions tend to use fiberglass, and I suspect it's not as good a quality as the commercial versions. So back over to you, Dick. KC6 UFM, back to net control.
And K4FX.
Thank you, Charles, and go ahead, David. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. I was going to mention that power handling is another factor that separates antennas as well. A lot of the fiberglass antennas for amateur use aren't rated above about 100 watts, and they're also, and well, that may sound like a lot, but that's 100 watts on VHF and UHF, so if you happen to use, or total combined, if you happen to use a VHF and a UHF rated simultaneously on that antenna, then that'd be, 30 or 40 watts each. They, at higher power as they can fail. They also can be more sensitive to lightning strikes and failures due to lightning strikes, popping some capacitors that are used in the matching network design on most of the fiberglass antennas that are out there for ham use. That's just ham antennas. Commercial antennas are a whole different breed in general, but weather is a determining factor, and if you're in a coastal environment, certainly the metal exposed aluminum antennas tend to corrode a lot faster. You can protect the radome and have the radome up for years. I'm in a coastal environment with a lot of salt air and sometimes significant storms. So I've had good results other than I have popped a multitude of capacitors due to either light or power, continuous duty cycle power being used with them, and they're fixes for both of those issues. But a lot of good antennas out there. Just pick a good one that you like and that will fit where you need it, and that will be a place to start. K4FXC back to that. And by the way, I'll get the key down here. Yes, I have ID'd on non-ham frequencies. Yeah, all kinds of places. 6 Mike, November.
Thanks, David. The 6 station, did you have a comment on the subject we're discussing? MMN, I think it was. Do you have a comment on the subject that's on the table right now? Go ahead. Nothing here. All right, thanks, David. Thanks, Charles. And Mike, I guess you got to decide what you want to do there, aluminum or fiberglass. Thanks for the question, Mike. Did that answer it for you?
Yes, it did, Dick, and thank you all the guys that responded back. I did have a tri-band fiberglass, which does 220 up on the tower already, so yes, they do make them. And in my condition down there in Florida, I got to keep a real good upkeep on my fiberglass because the sun just beats them pretty good. So thank you all for answering this question. I figured I'd put it out there for those that are new coming in case they had a choice of picking antennas for their new radio station. So thanks again. KV2 UDB taking it back over to net control.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for the question. All right, who else do we have? What do we got here? 2 bits the hour. This is Dick WB2JPQ Stations with amateur radio-related questions. Give us your call sign twice. We'll take a couple more questions, please. Air Force CQD, pretty noisy, Doug, but I think we can maybe make you out. Go ahead. Air Force CQD. Mike, or Douglas rather, what's your question, please? Kind of noisy, we'll try to make you. Air Force CQV, Doug, we'll try to, you're kind of noisy, we'll try to hear you. Go ahead with your question.
Well, let me do audio check first, because I was testing one of those little teeny tiny, antennas. This is a Tech Net. Should be good. Do I sound better now? Over.
You're in there. Your audio's kind of low, but go ahead with your question.
Okay, great. My question is about Jeff. I just got my drill back in February and I'm having a ton of fun. In particular, doing visual mode, FPUs and whispers. The question is really about solar propagation, and I know there's plenty of this solar and that type of thing. But are we really just generally in a bad spot now? The reason why I ask is it's not just that 10 or 12 don't seem to be open to me, but even 15 the other day on Whisper I had like 73 contacts in the entire on 15 meters. So is that just normal for this time of year, or are we in a bad solar cycle? Anybody that can provide any input on that, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Too far from the mic, too far.
Pretty tough to understand. Pretty tough, but I understand he's looking for HF answers. He just got his license in February. And no, we're actually just kind of on the downslope a little bit. We're up at, we just passed the peak. I'm not a DXer, but we'll put it out to the group. But it's just the way the angle of the dangle right now. Bands have been El Stinko, very unpredictable from day to day and week to week. And I think the HF guys will tell you that. Very, very, very unpredictable. Anybody want to make a comment to Doug?
CWI, and K4FHC.
David and Ruben. We'll go to David first. Go ahead, David.
As I mentioned, we had a little bit of a dip in, I guess, bad conditions here. I guess recently, but it comes and goes, as Dick said, and I haven't noticed any major changes in conditions. It's really been pretty hot on most of the bands that I've used, K4FXC.
Thanks, David. I know Randy was telling me that things were really good for our 40 meter, not on Saturday morning. I didn't make it. He was telling me that the conditions were really good. I'll have to wait for Roger to come back around. He can give us a good report. He's on HF every day. Good evening to Ruben, KD6CWI.
KD6CWI, Ruben in Fallbrook, North County, San Diego, and pleasure to be here at the net. The best advice that I can do, and I'm not the most savvy person here in the net, that would work for you to check if the band conditions are good and operational in your area. Depending on the kind of antenna you have and the area you have, how much elevation, the propagation, and everything else, the best is to the Web SDR. Now, I use the Utah Web SDR, where you can check the band domestically and internationally, but the tower is set in Utah. So, and then with that, and any of the bands, 160 to 6, you transmit on that frequency and band and see if you have a waterfall or an audio, and that's where you find out that you can use the band and communicate over there. But if you can't hear yourself, you don't see any waterfall, then it's a no-no. Let me reset. The other Web SDR that I use is the Kiwi, which is more on domestic because you select the tower on this particular Web SDR. So typically when I do 10-meter net, I put the band and the frequency on that particular time and date, and if I see a waterfall and an audio, then it's fully operational on the location that you're at. And I think that's about it. So have a prosperous and healthy 2026, 73 KD6 CWI.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for the suggestions. Actually, I use FDRs myself. I don't know why I didn't think of checking the remote one. That's an awesome suggestion, and I understand the bands go up and down, but hey, I'm enjoying being in New General. Hopefully you can hear me now. Different phones, so hopefully this came across. Really appreciate all the help, gentlemen. KR4CC, back to you.
Yeah, it did seem to be a little bit better. You weren't quite as muffled as you were. Your audio is still low, though. I didn't look at how you're coming in, but you might be on one of the South Florida repeater systems. But your audio is still low, but you do sound a little bit better. You got a little bit more fidelity than you did before. All right, we'll take one more question. It's 10 past the hour. One more amateur radio-related question.
Oscar 6, Mike November. Kilo Oscar 6, Mike November.
Hi, Ed. We saw you call in before. I didn't know if you were going to answer the previous question or if you had a question, but Ed from San Jose, California, KO6MMN. Good evening. KO6MMN. Don, or Ed rather, you're coming in on case, and Don's repeater out there in San Jose. We hear you fine. Go ahead with your question. Nothing heard from Ed. Sorry, Ed, you're not hearing us. We're hearing you just fine. One more question. That wasn't really a question, so we'll take one more amateur radio related question here, and then we'll send it over to Roger.
Hey, Dick, this is WB3ILA, Steve from Eastern PA. I have a question related to amateur radio, not necessarily hardware. It has to do with local clubs. I'm in an area where we have two different clubs, and I joined one and then found there was another one closer to my house. Is it considered improper to belong to more than one ham radio club?
Absolutely not. I know people belong to 4 or 5 clubs. Nope. They'll welcome, every club will welcome you. No, it's nothing wrong with that at all. That's pretty standard. Steve, good evening.
Good, Dick. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's coming up on field day in the end of June, and the club that's closer to my house has a better setup that I can do with my physical disabilities as opposed to the other one. Plus, it has to do with how some folks treat you, you know, as far as like a new member and like to help, and sometimes you got folks that are in clubs for years, and then, you know, somebody new comes in, and, you know, it's hard to get acclimated. That's all. So, okay. Thank you. I will let you go. I'm clear. WB3ILA. Thanks again, Dick.
Steve. Well, field day is easy. Whoever makes the bigger, thicker hamburgers, that's where you go first. Alrighty. Well, that'll do it for questions tonight. Thanks for the questions, and thanks to Scott for playing in our sandbox here for a little while tonight. I'm going to send it over to Roger, and he's going to take you on through here. We're going to start with the text check-ins that came in, 716-317-9050. If you haven't texted in, or if you want to text in, we did not mention that at the top of the net, but Roger's got a whole list here of text to check in. So over to you, my friend. Thank you, Vicki, for logging, and thanks again to Scott. This is B2JPQ. Have a good night, everybody.
Well, thanks, Dick. Vicki for logging. Nice little variety tonight with Scott in there. Always welcomed. And this is Roger, KO4QMM in Umatilla, Florida. I'll be your net controller for the rest of the evening, and as always, I'll go through the check-ins and then call for general check-ins and mobiles and whatnot, and have a little... Our question is, have you ever accidentally signed off when you were on, weren't on a, like if you were on a phone or whatever, and 7-3, or did your call sign, anything like that? So let's start at the bottom here. Give me a second. All right, my buddy Randy,
in New York, W2RBC, KI5 PMI, Bill Hobbs, New Mexico, KF8 DIP, James, Ottawa Lake, Michigan, K6AAN, Mike, Valley Springs, California, KB2UDB, Mike, Sebring, Florida, WB8ODF, Dave, Ypsilanti, Michigan, WA2UUS, Joel, Buffalo, New York, KK4SED, Les, Claremont, Florida, KBYU, Roy, Blaisdell, New York, and top of the list, Bob, Gallatin, Tennessee, KD2JPP. How about it, Bob? Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Hey, good evening, Roger and everybody else on the net. I have my call sign, but I have to admit to saying 73. So I don't know which column that's for. Everybody have a good night, and we'll be standing by listening.
Yeah, I imagine people have a confusing look on their face when you say it. And I'm pretty sure I said Roger Clear, my call sign, and because I'm always on there talking. You never know. Roy, Blaisdell, New York, KA8BYU. Good evening, Roy. Tuesday nights are hit or miss with Roy. You there, Roy? KA8BYU. Alright, we'll put him on the in and out list. Les, Claremont, Florida, KK4SED. Good evening, Les. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Good evening, Roger, and everybody on the net. Yeah, there's been a couple of times embarrassing. It's been years ago, but because I try to watch a little bit more. But yeah, I've done it. I'm here. Hey, yeah, we've had some rain here today, 8,800. So things cooling off a little bit. Thanks for allowing me to get on the net. KK4SED, back to net.
All right, a lot of my family and friends have gotten used to me in text, Roger Clear, and when I'm done talking to them on the phone, but and then you get used to it. Joel, Buffalo, New York, WA2UUS. Good evening, Joel.
And everyone else on the net. Yeah, I guess I might have done it a few times. My call sign or saying 73. I think my grandkids know when I do that, do it to call their attention to the hobby. But I don't do it that often. I don't believe. I wish everyone a nice week ahead. Be well and be safe. Thank you, Vicky and Roger.
Thank you, Joel. Hope you have a good evening, and thanks for joining us. Dave, Ypsilanti, Michigan, WB8ODF. Have you accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio, Dave?
Well, good evening, Roger and Vicky and Dick and everybody else on the net tonight. I see a bunch of no's here, but I would think just who hasn't? I probably did it a few times. I know I did it a couple times. I would say, okay, it was always on the phone. I'd say, all right, I'll talk to you later, WB8ODF. And I'm clear.
I think the last time I did it was my insurance agent or something. Mike, Valley Springs, California, K6AAN. How about it, Mike?
Good evening, everybody on the net. Definite negative for me. I've never signed off or anything on a telephone or a Zoom room. Try to keep it on the radio best I can. Come close a couple times, but no cigar. Back to the net. This is K6AAN.
It's a tough deal sometimes. Thanks for joining us this evening. James, Ottawa Lake, Michigan, K8 to DIP. Good evening, James.
My answer will be no. I haven't been on the radio long enough to actually do that. KF8 DIP 73.
Well, you better work on them contacts a little bit, James. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. Bill, Hobbs, New Mexico, KI5 PMI.
Good evening, Roger, everybody on the net. No, I have not done that, but it's only because I caught myself the couple times I was going to do it. So I'm a no on that one. Hope everybody has a good night. KI5 PMI, back to net.
Yeah, sometimes I get talking faster than my brain will work. Thanks for joining us, Bill. Have a great evening. W2RBC, Randy, West Seneca, New York. I don't know. I can't really picture it, Randy, but it would be funny.
Roger, Vicky, and everyone on the Tech Net. I never really ended a conversation with my call signs, but I have said 73. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2, RBC.
Thanks for joining us, Randy. Have a wonderful evening there camping. That's it for the text check-ins. This is Roger, KO4QMM in Central Florida. You're listening to the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night Tech Net. And we're here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and then there's Wednesday night with the open mic, and Friday night with the youth net, and those will be at 8 p.m. too. Same time, same channel. And let's take some general check-ins now. If you want to join us, answer the question, have a little bit of fun tonight. Come with your call sign, twice and slow, mobiles and general check-ins.
Quebec uniform. KF0 SYV. Oscar 6, Mike, November. Kilo, Oscar 6, Mike, November. Kilo Romeo 4, Mike, Whiskey. Kilo Romeo 4, Mike, Whiskey.
Kilo Foxtrot 7, Lima Tango Kilo. Kilo Foxtrot 7, Lima Tango Kilo.
November 1, Whiskey, Echo, Bravo, N1, WEB.
Whiskey Alpha 5, Charlie Bravo Whiskey, WA5 CBW.
Kilo Foxtrot 7, Lima. Kilo Foxtrot 7, Lima Tango Juliet.
KB3 VPK, KB3 VPK.
Well, that was pretty orderly right there. Let me start from the bottom here, and got a text check-in. Chris, Folkestone, Georgia, AB4KK. Then we got Mary, KB3, VPK, Easton, PA. WA5, CBW, Jerry, Alvin, Texas. WA5, CBW. Oh, I said that one. N1, WEB, Webb, Collierville, Tennessee. KF7, LTJ, Joe, Township, Michigan there. K4
WW, Mark, Orlando, Florida. KO6MMN, Ed, San Jose, California. KF0SYV, Galen, Woodbine, Iowa. And top of the list, VE3IQU, Reg, Brampton, Canada. Reg, have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio? Over.
And a very good evening to you and everybody around the net tonight. That's almost a humorous question. And no, I made a lot of mistakes in ham radio, but I don't think that's ever been one of them. Oh, golly, that would be amusing, wouldn't it? Anyhow, all's good here. Wife and I are fine and just enjoying life for as much as we can at our age. Listening to the radio, watching the ball game, and so on and so forth. So, anyhow, toss it back to you, and Dick, if you're out there, hope you're doing well, and we'll be listening for a while. V3IQU.
Yeah, Reg, it just seems to happen real easy sometimes. It's easy as saying your call sign when you're ready to hang up. Let's move on to Galen, Woodbine, Iowa. KF0SYV. Good evening, Galen.
Good evening, Roger and Vicki and everyone on the net. Unfortunately, I'd have to say yes. I've slipped up and signed off on the phone and even with a text message both. So I'm guilty as charged. You all have a good week. Catch you later. Back to net control.
It really is humorous. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. Ed, San Jose, California, KO6MMN. Good evening, Ed. I hear you now.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I was going to my question too long-winded, or I keep dropping? I think I keep dropping it. Anyway, no. I will say not yet. I have not done that yet. I'm sure it's going to happen. Back to you, Roger, KO6MMN73.
Well, it was good hearing you, Ed. You came in really nice and clear that time. I don't know what was going on before. You have a great... Thanks for joining us. Mark, Orlando, Florida, KR4MWW. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Net. How are you? I missed the question if there was one. What is the question tonight?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. And have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
No, not yet. I'm sure that'll happen. No, I'm relatively new. I just got my technician in late March, and I just passed my general last week, and I'm studying for my extra right now. So I'm sure I have lots of mistakes to make in the very near future. Back to you, Net.
Oh, innocent mistakes at that, though. You will put a smile on your face, even though the other people will be wondering what you meant. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to KS7, LTJ Joe, Township, Michigan. Are you there, KF7 LTJ? Look like you were new. Definitely check out EastCoastReflector.com. And the magazine just came out today, so definitely check your emails for that. It's always good to see what's going on in there. Webb, N1WEB, Collarville, Tennessee. Good evening, Webb, and have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio, my friend?
Oh, hi. Hello, Roger. Thank you for running the net tonight. And I have to confess, Your Honor, I am guilty of charged. I just did that last month. I was on the phone with somebody making an appointment, and instead of saying goodbye, I said my call sign, and I couldn't believe it. And I can't deny it either, because my wife was there, and she looked at me like I had lobsters coming out of my ears. So, yeah, it does happen. N1WEB. Just that.
Oh, that is too funny, Webb. I'm putting a smile on my face tonight just thinking of these. Have a good evening. Jerry, Alvin, Texas, WA5CBW. Good evening, Jerry.
Good evening, everyone on the net. Yep, I have not signed off on my call sign or anything, but I have caught myself spelling stuff phonetically when people can't hear me, and then they look at me like I'm speaking in tongues or something because they didn't catch what I said. So that's what I'm guilty of. Anyways, you have a good night, and back to net, WA5CBW.
Thanks for joining us, Jerry. Yeah, they think that you are ex-police or military or something. Let's move on to Mary, Easton, PA, KB3VPK. Good evening, Mary, and have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio? Over.
Okay, I had to wait for the repeater ID to drop. Hello, everyone. It wasn't an accident because when your priest is a ham radio operator, and after the mass, you're shaking his hand, you got to say 7-3. And Steve, tell me where the best hamburgers are on field days. Back to net control, KB3BPK.
Oh, that is a funny one, Mary. That's right up there with the tops. Thanks for joining us this evening, and I knew you were going to show up on the radio. I figured your call sign was ID in there or something. And this is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida, speaking of ID. And we got a couple more here. The two text, we got KD3ATQ Jim, Easton, PA, and 2ZWR Dan, Radford, Virginia, and AB4K, which I already said, Chris. I better get Chris real quick and when it's back to it. AB4KK, Chris, from Georgia there, have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Yeah, I've got one of those phones that are push-to-talk phones, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've done that. Talking on the phone and sign out, because I mostly got it to get on DB Switch, and it works great for that, but the problem is I use it for a phone also, and I had to quit using it for a phone because it felt like I had a handheld in my hand, and I kept running out. Back to net, AB4KK.
Well, thanks for being patient there, Chris, and thanks for joining us, too. Have a great evening. And Dan and Jim, we're going to put you with the next bunch here. You'll be on top of the list. Let's anybody want to come in general check-ins, in and out, mobiles, come twice and slowly.
Kilo Echo 9, Delta Romeo Uniform.
WMI, in and out.
Kilo Echo 9, Delta Romeo Uniform.
Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Zulu X-ray, in and out. KC5CZX, in and out.
Kilo 6 Golf Bravo Zulu, K6 GBZ, in and out.
KO4 EAS, KO4 EAS, in and out.
Kilo 5,
Kilo 5 Victor Juliet Hotel. Kilo Echo 5 Victor Juliet Hotel. Anybody else want to join in and answer the question of the evening? Come in your call sign.
AB6 Alpha Bravo 6, Mike Bravo.
K7 FPS, K7 FPS. Alright, now I got a nice little list to work from there. K7 FPS, Fred, Reno, Nevada. AB6MB, Jeff, Union City, California. K5 VJH, Raymond, Gilmore, Texas. NY4DX, Bertrand from Trinidad and Tobago. KO4 Leonard, Margate, Florida. In and out. Thanks for joining us, Leonard. AC5CZX, Daryl, Lubbock, Texas. Thanks for joining us. In and out. Have a good evening, Daryl. Tom, Cameron Park, California. In and out. K6GBZ. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Have a good evening. And we got Bradley, Illinois, KE9DRU. James, Perrysburg, Ohio, K8WMI. Jim, Easton, PA. I already said UKD3ATQ. Let's go to the top of the list there. N2ZWR. No, I thought there was a mobile down there. NZWR. Dan, Brad, Virginia. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio? Over.
Good evening to everybody on the net tonight. No, I have never accidentally signed off when I wasn't on the radio. At least, not yet. Back to net control.
See, something to look forward to, Dan. Thanks for being with us tonight. Jim, Easton, PA, KD3ATQ. How about it, Jim?
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, and the rest of the net. I haven't thrown a call sign out yet, but I have thrown a 73 out instead of a goodbye, so I'm not sure if that counts. Back to you, KD3ATQ.
Oh, yes, it counts. Thanks for joining us. James, Perrysburg, Ohio, K8WMI. Good evening, James. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Hi, everybody on the net. No, I have not done that.
We got a good variety of no's and yeses. That's for sure. Brett, Bradley, Illinois, KE9DRU. Good evening, Brett.
Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate you doing the net out here, and hello. I can honestly say no, I have not done that yet, but I am still relatively new into the hobby. I'm a little under 10 months in on having my technician license. So give it some time, and I probably will. Have a good night, everybody.
You just keep checking into these nets, and, you know, it'll brainwash you, hopefully. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening. My buddy Bertrand, Trinidad and Tobago, 9Y4DX. How about it, Bertrand? Have you ever accidentally signed off with the radio?
Well, a pleasant evening to you, Net Control, KO4QMM, Roger. This is 9Y4DX, Bertrand, and my location, Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. Yes, correct. Well, let me extend a pleasant evening as well to all of other stations on the Tech Net this Tuesday evening. Hope everyone is doing well, warm, and safe. Well, Roger, I do not recall having done that. I try my best not to mix the radio with my other activities. So that's it from me. No. That's it from me. 730. Back to you, Net Control. KO4QMM. This is 9Y4. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, as always, Bertrand. And yeah, it is a nice warm evening here in Central Florida. 71 degrees, mostly cloudy, and a little bit of humidity going on. Thanks for joining us. Raymond, Gilmore, Texas, KE5VJH. Raymond, have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Kilo Echo 5, Victor Juliet Hotel. Thanks for running the net. Honestly, I have not done it when not on the radio, but what I am guilty of is giving the wrong call signs for the wrong stations for various different classes. So that's what I'm guilty of. Back to net. Thanks for hosting it. KE5VJH.
Here's AB6MB. I've done it accidentally, I think, and always once, probably twice, talking to a ham guy over the phone. He just out of habit. And we got a good laugh out of it, actually. So yeah, guilty as charged, AB6MB.
FPS. Good evening, Fred. Have you ever accidentally signed off, weren't on the radio?
Hey, Roger, Vicky, and everyone on the net. Not yet. I try to be cognizant of the thing that I'm holding in my hand and haven't done it with my cell phone yet, but anyway, K7FPS, back to net.
All right, Fred. She got you down as a no, and Vicky's done a great job logging as usual tonight, K8VKY. I don't know how she pulls some of them out of there. All right, we're getting down to the end here. Anybody, anywhere would like to join us tonight? Come in and answer the question of the evening. Come with your call sign.
This is Kilo Quebec 4, Yankee India Delta, Nathan, Harvest, Alabama.
Kilo Charlie 3, Charlie Kilo, Charlie 3,
For Golf 1, November Yankee Sierra, 4G1 NYN.
Whiskey 9, Echo Bravo Bravo, California.
Anybody else like to join in this evening's Tuesday night Tech Net? Coming to your call sign.
Horseshoe, not for Ohio State University.
Whiskey 9, Echo Bravo Bravo, oh, California.
KD2 QQB, Allendale, New York. Kilo Delta 2, Quebec, Quebec.
Kilo 5, Whiskey Hotel Bravo, Corinth, Mississippi.
Bonamere, K5WHB, William, Mississippi, KD2QQV, Donald, Ellensville, New York, N4 MSU, Jerry, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, W9EBB, Donald, Florida, 4G1, NYS, Stephen, Philippines, KC3FGD, Ray, Elizabethtown, PA, KQ4YID, Nathan, Harvest, Alabama. Nathan, it's up to you. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio? Over.
KQ4YID. No, I, like the other gentleman said, I tend to try to be aware of what I'm holding. I mean, I haven't yet, but good evening, everyone, and back to net control.
Alright, my friend, Vicky got you down as a no. Ray from Elizabethtown, PA, KC3FGD, taking a break from the garden and playing some radio, Ray.
Yeah, good evening, Roger, Vicky, everyone on the crew. Yeah, I spent the entire afternoon up there putting in tomatoes. Busy day. Yes, I do end up on the telephone every once in a while saying 70 degrees. Another thing I do too, I say back to you. I catch myself doing that a lot. Hey, everyone, have a wonderful evening. Back to Roger at Net Control.
Oh, that's a good one, Ray. I don't know if I've done that one or not. I've done quite a few. Thanks for joining us as always. Stephen from Philippines, 4G1NYS. Good evening, Stephen. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Thanks, Roger, TO4QMM. This is for Golf 1, November Yankee Sierra. My name is Steven from here in the Philippines. 11 minutes before 10 o'clock in the morning here of Wednesday. Just coming up and supporting the net. No, I haven't accidentally signed off when I'm not handling the radio. I do agree with some of the gentlemen that have given their reports. They know and are recognizable of the surroundings that they have. 70 degrees to you, Roger, and to everybody on the East Coast Reflector. I'll send it back to net control.
7 Stephen, have a wonderful morning there. You're almost ready to start thinking about a little bit of lunch. Let's move on to Don, okay? 9EBB, good evening, Don. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Oh, good evening, Roger. Hello to the Philippines. Been there a few times, fun stuff. Anyway, the point is here is have I ever said 73s on the phone as a brand new amateur radio guy about a year now? I have to say yes, and I've done it several times. And they always, people look at me like, what? But yeah, I've done it. And I guess I'm not so aware of my surroundings. But sometimes I also, on the ham radio, because I'm an old CB guy, I used to talk on the CB all the time, I'll say 10-4 by accident on the ham radio. Now, has anyone ever done that one? But yep, my answer is yes, and I'll move on to the next person. Back to net control. Roger, you do a great job. 73, so you will have a blessed week.
Oh, Don, you reminded me. I did that one time when I was a green technician or something, and I said 10-4 to somebody, and I came in the Zoom room. Oh, my goodness, did I get it. I didn't do that again. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening. It's been a fun question tonight. Jerry, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I don't know if you said in there or not. N4OSU. You there, Jerry?
We're still here. All the time when we talk to the ham radio operators on the cell phone. See if you can put the message across a little quicker. Have a fine one. You're doing a good job. This is N4 OSU, not 4 Ohio State. Down on your final, sir.
My friend, thanks for joining us as always. Katie QQV, Donald from Ellenville, New York. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio, Donald?
Katie QQV here. Yeah, it's happened to me a couple of times. I'll be, instead of saying QSL, because I can't think of the Q code, I'll be like that gentleman did. I did that one time. Nobody said anything, though. Nobody said nothing, thank God. But, I didn't get a response or anything, but I knew that was way off track. And, yes, a couple of times, 73s. Sometimes I've ended off my QSOs without ending my call sign, and I gotta remind myself, or somebody has to sometimes remind me for FCC rules to give us a call sign. So yeah, I have sometimes. So, but not this time. So Katie 2QQB, New York, back to net control.
Thanks for joining us, Don. And yeah, like I said, it's just such an innocent thing. All you can do is smile and walk away. William, the bottom of our list here, William, from Mississippi, K5WHB. How about it, William?
Good evening, Lynette. Yeah, we've all got some good ones going on. I've signed up a few times in the little microphone clip that come out, and I just holding a microphone, so that kind of qualifies as that. But I do have a standard one. Anybody's Andy Griffith fan, when he was talking to the FBI guy, and he said, he kept trying to talk to him. Andy said, I've done 10-4 you. I don't have to talk anymore. So every once in a while, I use that on the phone and radio, ham radio, and regular speech. So I've done 10-4 you. You can't talk to me anymore.
Right on. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, my dad used to always say that when I was growing up. He was an ex-police.
so I think he got used to saying it. All right, that's the end of that list. We got 5 minutes left, and we're getting down to the end of the checker flag here. Anybody who'd like to join us, come in, answer the question of the evening. This is KO4QMM. Come with your call sign.
Delta, Kilo 5, Charlie, Juliet. Kilo 5, Charlie, Juliet. Chat in Clear Lake, Texas.
W2KJV, W2KJV. In and out tonight, Roger. 7-3 all.
Oh, Vicky found it, figured it out. I'm just getting ready to ask about that. Anybody else like to join in the last call for the East Coast Reflector 20 meter net? East Coast Reflector Tuesday night net. It's getting late. Last call.
November 5, America, Quebec, Mexico, N5AQM. Up in Babylon, Ecuador. KJ5 MLZ, KJ5 MLZ.
Alright, we're down to Kerchunks. That'll be it. Ezra, you got the checker flag tonight. Belchassi, Louisiana. KJ5MLV. Bob, Babylon, New York. I don't know how you got that one, Vicky. All I heard was Babylon, New York. KC2DJ. Mike, Chandler, Arizona. N5AQM. And Tony, one of our team members from Homosassa, Florida. In and out. W2KJV. Have a great evening there, Tony. Chet, Houston, Texas, K5CJJ, and top of the list, Barry. We're pretty sure it's N8DAD. Is that correct?
Correction, the call sign is November 8 Delta Hotel Charlie. The name is Jim.
Delta Hotel Charlie, N8 Delta Hotel Charlie. All right, my friend, have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Roger, yeah, talking on the telephone to another ham. I've done that a couple of times. This is ADHC.
Chet, Houston, Texas, K5CJJ. Good evening, Chet.
Good evening to the net. I have not. What call sign I use if I switch between ham and GMRS, and I've got to think twice before I speak. K5CJJ back to the net.
That would be a tough one. Thanks for joining us, Chet. Have a great evening. N5AQM, Mike, Chandler, Arizona. Good evening, Mike. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio?
Yeah, good evening, everybody on the net. N5AQM, thanks for taking my late check-in. Current temperature in Chandler, Arizona, right outside of Phoenix is 103 degrees. Just out brushing the pool, getting ready to start using the pool here pretty quick. Pool temperature is 86. XYL just checked it, so there you go. Yeah, well, actually, we do a form of that when I'm hanging out with my ham buddies and we're parting company for the day or whatever. We usually say 7-3 and instead of see you later. So but I've never signed off. Well, but otherwise not on the radio. But we usually tell each other, hey, 7-3, 7-3. You know. Back to you, Net N5AQM, and thank you.
Yeah, I got some friends, and they've kind of figured out what it means, and I say it, and they probably say it to people, and nah, they probably don't. All right, thanks for joining us, Bob, Babylon, New York, KC2DJ. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to everyone on the net, and to you, Roger. And yeah, I did something almost equivalent to what the previous station said, but I did it in an email. It was a business-related email, a work-related email, and I signed it. Instead of saying best regards, Bob, I said I typed best 7-3, Bob. And it was a work-related email. So that was a little embarrassing. Back to that. This is Bob, KC2DJ, Babylon, New York.
Yeah, that one kind of stick with you there on paper. Thanks for joining us, Bob. We got your answer for the evening. And last on the list, checker flag 70 laps. You done good, Ezra. Belchassi, Louisiana, KJ5MLZ. Have you ever accidentally signed off when you weren't on the radio? Ezra.
KJ5MLZ. Hello, Scott. Yeah, man. I've done it several times when I'm talking on the phone with some of my ham radio buddies. Definitely will do it. 10-4 or 73. Back to Net Control. Hope everyone have a great night, and we'll check in on the AM side on the morning brew. 73.
Yeah, always look forward to that morning brew. Thanks, Ezra, for joining us, and we got you with the Yes Club. And the Godfather said that it was about 50-50 on the answers tonight. And want to thank everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. It was nice to have Scott in there, N7SGP, and Vicky, KE8BKY, Dick, WB2JPQ, Kevin, VE3BZ, and Charles, KC6UFM. And I am KO4QMM, and you are listening to the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night Tech Net. Everybody have a wonderful evening and a great day. This frequency is going back to normal amateur use. 7-3!